And you keep doing all your gangster stuff. I'm just trying to sell my house. Don't worry about that. Everybody's just trying to get along and have a good life. All of the races are different. Just because they're different doesn't mean anybody's better or worse than anybody.
Hey, where's the diversity hire?
I got a dude in my car. I didn't ask for it, but the whole world is watching.
This is Brian with ScreenFiles.com and Review. The movie I'm looking at today is Bright, directed by David Ayer, starring Will Smith and Joel Edgerton. Bright is the most expensive production by Netflix thus far, and it's somewhere in the range of $90 to $100 million, perhaps even more. And in its favor, it looks it. It's not an expansive movie in a visual sense, but it looks like a movie, which is nice because not all movies do. And you see the money on the screen, which is also important. The only problem is that the subject matter doesn't necessarily work for the director, in that David Ayer has traditionally done movies like End of Watch. He's the writer of Training Day. He directed Fury, and they're very grounded, very reality-based movies. And his last two films, Suicide Squad and now Bright, are easing away from that. And that's problematic, because with his style, his grounded, gritty directorial style doesn't work well with it. And he doesn't seem to be changing and adapting to the material so much as forcing the material to adapt to him, which doesn't really work. And Suicide Squad was a prime example of this, though there are so many other factors involved with that movie. It's hard to tell what was due to Ayer and what was due to the executive producer, Zack Snyder, what was due to Warner Brothers, or so on. But looking at Bright under Netflix, which, as far as I understand it, he had pretty much carte blanche to do whatever he needed to do to get the movie done, you get a real feel for how Ayer directs. And he, like his filmography shows, he does very well with very grounded, realistic things. You introduce the fantasy elements, though, and it starts to unravel. And Bright is a perfect example of this. It's a movie that doesn't quite gel for most of its running time. In fact, I would say that through perhaps 2/3 of its running time, it's just clashing. Styles are clashing and nothing quite syncs up very well. And that's nothing to do with the actors, who are very good with the material they have, more so than just a director who can't quite get his finger on how this movie should actually look. Bright is done in a very realistic fashion, which is a problem. We're talking about a fantasy with orcs and fairies and dragons, though there is a shot of a dragon in this movie. It goes really quick. If you didn't look, you might have missed it. In any case, it takes these fantasy elements and meshes them into a realistic modern environment, and it just doesn't sync up very well. It just doesn't make any sense, really, how this movie does not mesh. Part of the problem is due to Max Landis' story. It's just kind of silly, and I guess most critically, there's no sense of wonder or grandeur or mystery to anything. So Bright is essentially an allegory for race relations, a clumsy, obvious one at that, in that you have a hierarchy with elves at the top, humans, and then orcs. And so, in and of itself, it's not a bad idea, but nothing really flows. Nothing really feels natural to the movie. There's no wonder, no grandeur to anything. And anytime you're using fantastic elements like that, that's a necessity. Because if you take away the wonder and the grandeur, an elf is just a human with pointy ears, essentially. There's no wow factor to it. And it's, again, maybe even a $90, $100 million movie. It needs that. It needs the fantastical. It needs the miraculous. And that's not really there. And I think that's part of the issue with this movie, and again, Suicide Squad as well, is that Ayer is not the best choice to direct such fantastical elements. It's just not his strong point. And when you put him in movies where this happens, it feels very forced and awkward, and nothing quite seems to fit. So, and that's not to imply that Bright is bad or unwatchable. It's not. It's actually pretty interesting at some points, but it doesn't quite work as a movie. It's on Netflix. If you subscribe, I would check it out. It's worth seeing. It's just not that great a movie. This is Brian, ScreenFiles.com and Review.